I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia.
And today we are talking about Cain and Abel, and then the mirror story of Cain and Abel. So, we were in the Garden of Eden. We fell. Things got messed up real quick. We're kind of like the peak of the pinnacle of creation, and when your peak dies, everything else along with it crumbles, right?
So you mean it's all downhill from here?
Yeah, well, that's what it feels like anyway. When your leadership of the earth falls apart, everything else is affected by that. So the continuation of the fall happens pretty quick. I mean, we gotta say that it seems like a pretty big jump. On one verse, we're like, don't eat this fruit, I'm gonna eat it, right? And then the next one's like, don't kill your brother, I'm gonna kill him.
That is kind of a jump.
Making murder like your first sin outside of the gardens is pretty up there.
I ate something I wasn't supposed to. I'm just gonna kill somebody.
Yeah. So
And that's why you shouldn't eat junk food. Is that the moral of the story?
No. So as we move into the Cain and Abel story, things are not good, and they're worshiping God, and someone's jealous of God liking the other's worship more than their own, even though it seems like Cain's not really putting much effort into his worship. Okay, so let's imagine this as a worship service. All right, so we're at church, and Cain's over there in the corner, and is like, oh, offerings coming around. What are we gonna? What's 10%? Let's do the math. Here's your cut, God. And then there's Abel's. Oh God, what's the best thing? I got an extra gift today. What if I give you this? Here's my whole stimulus check, essentially. And let's imagine Jesus is the one carrying around the tithe plate, and Abel puts it in. Like, oh, thanks, man. Cain puts it in. Oh, thanks, man. Abel puts it in. It's like, wow, dude, wow. So, anyways, I know this instantly sounds like judgy. But essentially, the way that the story...
Being somebody that collects tithe, you're not supposed to judge people on the tithe in which they put in.
No, you're
I'm just putting it out there.
Well, since we're going this route, Jesus tells us that it's about the heart, right? He sees a woman put a penny into the offering, and he's like, wow, she's given more than even those rich people gave, because she's given everything that she had. That was all she had to go off of. So, Jesus is judging the heart, but in the example that I gave, it was a heart example as well, right? Not just financial. What's 10%? What can I give God? Whereas this other guy's like, oh, out of the overflow of my heart, God, what do you want? Take it, it's yours. That's the way that Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel are kind of pictured, is that Abel brings the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. So it's the best of the best, and then the best pieces of the best. And then you've got Cain, who brought an offering of the fruit of the ground.
So what you're saying, so I'm going to try to do an analogy here.
We already did the analogy though, Casey.
Yeah. I mean, the point is, one of them had their heart in it, he's given the best of the best, and the other one's just God, make an offering, here you go. And obviously, Cain is out of sync in some other ways too, because now he's upset because the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering, he had no regard. There's some times where I wonder where my offering is here you go, guys. Thanks, man. What? You don't like this? No. Oh, that's the story. But Cain doesn't like that. Cain's very angry. And so, God, though, he's gentle. He's like, why are you angry? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it. So, do well, man. Pursue God. Sin is pursuing you, pursue me. Otherwise, this thing will eat you up. Sin is sometimes pictured as a entity of sorts, that needs to be destroyed, or it will destroy or devour you. So then Cain and Abel get in this fight where Cain goes up to the field to see Abel and then kills him. Like, that escalated quickly. That's the gift that goes right here, right? So anyways, this story, God then shows up. He's like, the blood of your brother is crying out to me from the ground. What's going on here, dude? You know, like, why is he dead, essentially? And then Cain is cursed. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. And then Cain freaks out. Now, if I'm God, and like, I'm not, by the way. Everyone pause.
Just for clarification.
Okay, is that needed clarification?
In case you were wondering.
If I'm God, I just created Adam and Eve. They done messed up, and now their kids have murdered each other. Like, I'm thinking probably like, this ain't gonna work out, you know? It's like, and if I see Cain, I'm probably thinking like, dude, like, I'm afraid to even let you like live, you know?
Are you
like,
trying to hit Control Z at this point?
something like that. Like, I'm at least nervous, like, should I let you continue to live? Like, who else are you gonna kill? Like, you just like jumped the gun so far. That's not what God does. Cain actually cries out, like, my punishment is greater than I can bear. You're like, dude, you just killed your brother. Your punishment is what you're talking about? And he's afraid that anyone who finds him, they're going to kill him. Because he's a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. Anyone who finds him is going to kill him. This is a question back to our last episode again, Monday, when we talked about, were there other people on the planet outside of Adam and Eve? This is another verse that leads me to the statement of, I would say yes. Who are these other people who are going to kill him wandering around the earth? Just something to think about. But he's afraid.
I think it's sister-in-law.
Whoever finds me will kill me. And then God responds gracefully, not angrily or like, well, you know, I don't know what level of anger there is, but like he responds by saying, the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod. So God responds by taking care of a murderer. God is pro-life in this case. We often go for the death sentence. God here is like, no. And instead of you dying for your sin, I'm also going to put a mark on you, whatever that means, so that when other people see you, like, they'll be afraid to kill you because they'll know, like, I will pour out my vengeance on them if they pour out vengeance on you for what you did. So, like, God's trying to stop vengeance right from the get-go. God is trying to create peace. God is trying to protect someone who, quite honestly, deserves to die. I'm sure even by, like, biblical law standards, right? Now, we've fallen pretty far. Eat the apple, murder your brother, and then we fast forward just like a paragraph. Cain knows his wife, she bears. Until finally we get to a guy named Lamech. So Lamech is a descendant of Cain.
Gesundheit.
And we now have the first mention of something that we haven't seen before. Lamech took 2 wives. That wasn't how it was set up in the garden, right? It was just, and Jesus again in the New Testament looks at the garden as the way that familial relationships were meant to be set up. And here we have Lamech breaking those rules. It's not just Adam and Eve anymore. Now it's Adam, Eve, and Eve, right? He takes 2 wives. One of them's named Ada and the other Zillah. And then they have children. And then something interesting happens. Lamech comes to his wives, and we're already like thinking of him kind of in a rebel kind of stance because he's breaking like the way Eden was set up, right? Lamech comes to his 2 wives, says, Anna and Zillah, hear my voice. You wives of Lamech, listen to what I say. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain's revenge is 7-fold, then Lamech's is 77-fold. What is going on in this passage?
He killed someone and now he's punishing himself?
How so?
Is he requesting a curse?
How so?
I don't know.
What? Explain what you were thinking.
Well, because he says here, I killed a young man because he hit me.
Wounded him.
But if Cain... Why does it say Cain's revenge and not his punishment?
So
if anyone kills Cain, vengeance would be taken on him 7-fold.
yeah.
So it would be revenge based on the curse that God put on there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, in case I forgot to mention that, the mark on Cain was if anyone touches you, Cain, vengeance will be put on them 7-fold. God is trying to stop the circle of violence,
Right.
right? Now,
Okay, so
yeah,
what's his name again?
Lamech.
Lamech.
That's what I like to say.
So Lamech killed someone and then says, no one can touch me because God's revenge on them will be 77-fold.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks that killing someone is giving him like this
Power.
extra power.
There you go. Yeah. So like we're spiraling quick here. You ever hear like somebody gets like a word from God and it was a good word at the get-go, but by the time it's been twisted, it is suddenly like a bad word that empowers someone in a really bad way. I can't think of any examples offhand. So I'll use my own life. So like here's an example. This isn't fully gonna match. The verse 29, Jeremiah 29:11 became really popular back in the day. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope in the future. I was unaware that like every church in existence at the time was just stealing from, I don't know, Saddleback or Willow Creek. So like everyone's using the same criteria or curriculum. This verse starts appearing everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I go. That like, I started counting. Like I'd see it on web pages, I'd see it in church.
Your count got up to 111?
No, well, so I was at like 40 in like a number of weeks or months. And this became like very quickly a life verse. I was like, man, God really wants me to hear Jeremiah 29:11. Why? He's got plans for me. He's got future for me. Like mad scientist Jamin, basically. Like I got to the point, and I only say this as a story of like how things can empower you badly. Whereas like, I'm not gonna die in a car accident. Nothing's gonna happen. I can't die from bad health. I'm fine. I've got plans and futures that God's not gonna let those fall apart. So I'm safe no matter what. I know, it's demented, right? I told my friend this and he judged me harshly. I don't know why I'm sharing it with all of you.
Leave judgmental comments in the comments below.
But the reason that I bring that up is like, it's a good word. I have plans for you, prosper you, not to harm you. It's taken out of context as it was given to exilic Israel, and I was applying it to my life and taking it as a sign in a way that it was not. But I changed the feel and the meaning and the
I'm invincible
power.
now.
Yes.
Because
And that's exactly what Lamech does. Lamech doesn't seem phrased in the best way. First off, because he's breaking like the ideal of marriage. He's got 2 wives. But then he takes a word that was given to his great-great-great-grandpa about, man, you know what? There was someone who killed someone once. My great-great-grandpappy killed his brother. And when he did that, God was like, I've made you invincible. If anyone kills you, I'll bring vengeance on them 7-fold. So you know what? Come here, my wives, and listen. I killed a man. He struck me, this young man, and I straight up killed him.
Why did this go to a country
I have
accent?
no idea.
Okay.
And so, if my great-great-grandpappy sevenfold upon him, well, that's been multiplied by the time it got to me. 77-fold vengeance on anyone who touches me. So bring it on. You know, like he's embodied this. God gave it as a way to stop violence. He's now taken it as a way to create violence. Who knows if he's going to go on to use this to become like a militaristic kind of guy, or kill more people, or just like keep the world, or his wives. Why is he telling his wives this? Like, is it possible this is like a, you know who I am? Like, you know, is he intimidating them or something? Well,
or he could be bragging.
Yeah, or he could be bragging. Yeah. Whatever the case may be, he's obviously not gone the right way with this. This was not God's intent. And right from the get-go of the Bible, we are spiraling until eventually we're going to get to Noah, right? Where God's like, I gotta flood the whole thing. Start over. Like it's not working out. So, needless to say, the Bible gives us more clues as to like the difficulty going on. Normally, no one knows the story of Lamech. Like, just seems like a random story there. But when you're actually
it stops. It's weird that if you look further, it just that was
This
it.
is all we know about him.
Yeah, there's not much there, but it's just enough to see like, wow, people have been twisting God's words since the beginning of time. Like this is Genesis 4, you know, and like people have been violent instead of pursuing God's peace. Instead of letting God like stop cycles of violence, they've used God as a tool to empower it. So
Book of Eli.
Book of Eli, yeah. With that being said, we're going to close out today's episode in a little bit of a different way. During a lot of the protests that were going on, Black Lives Matter protests throughout the previous year, during that time I wrote a song that was about innocent blood being shed, like Abel's, in this case referencing it to the blood of all the black lives that have been affected by racism. And then looking at that in the light of the Lamech story and the Cain and Abel story. So we're going to close out with that song as you kind of think over the story in that light, and we will catch you next time.
Be sure to comment about Jamin's beard and or anything else in the episode down below.
And join us on the Discord if you would like to continue this conversation.
And cue an older video where I had a beard now.
How many times must the ground open up to drink the blood of innocent skin? How many times will Lamech get his way? And claim that I embraced his sin. They can't hear you calling out, I can't breathe. But Abel's blood screams out to me. And they can't hear you calling out, I can't breathe. But baby, I haven't missed a thing. How many times must tongues be lifted high lesson learned is set aside. One God for all, in every language, every tribe. The church's diversity as pride. They can't hear you calling out, I can't breathe. But Abel's blood screams out to me. And they can't hear you calling out, I can't breathe. But baby, I haven't missed a thing. And I knit you in the womb. As an image of myself, I see you in the tomb. And your blood cries for its I can hear you calling out, I can't breathe. And Abel's blood screams out to me. And they can't hear you calling out, I can't breathe. But baby, I haven't missed a thing.